What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Nerfherder Council. I am your host, JT, and with me is my co-host, AJ, my brother. So what's up, man? How's it going?
Hey, it's been quite a week in our family, but we're here tonight. Things are good.
So we are Steveless tonight. A lot of you guys may know that, we took a little hiatus a few months ago. So during that time, Steve actually lost his father-in-law, and today would have been his father-in-law's birthday. So he is home doing the husband thing, hanging out with his wife. So condolences there. And AJ and I actually almost a week ago at this point, we lost our cousin. He was only 43, so he's right between ages between me and AJ here. So pretty sad. It was sudden and really out of nowhere. So kind of a little bit of sadness to start out the show, but in darkness there is light, and he had a couple massive Lego sets. He had the Ultimate Collector Series TIE Fighter, which apparently is being gifted to AJ. Mm-hmm. And he also had the Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon, which is being gifted to me. So we got some Legos out of it, so at least there's one positive. So if there could be a positive to it, I suppose, But
yeah, it's funny. I actually got two sets out of the deal. It's a tragedy. I'm sorry.
Yeah. My cousin croaked, and I got
terrible
some stuff. So let me tell you,
I really wish this wasn't live because that's horrible, and I really would like to take that out. Now,
Marty
was a big fan
fun.
of Lego Technic as well. Like that was his thing. So like we would have phone calls back and forth, and we would talk Lego, but he was always building the Technic stuff, right?
Yeah.
I guess he was halfway through. It's funny. You got the most expensive standard Lego set ever made, the $800 Falcon.
Yep.
Just last year, or this year actually, maybe they came out with a Lamborghini Technic set. That is, I think, the most expensive Technic set they've ever produced. Really? He was halfway through building that when he passed. Huh. So that's coming to me. So my first ever Technic set is going to be the biggest, most complicated, expensive thing they've ever come up with. So, so yeah, that's going to be my featured centerpiece, because like he built some of it, and then I'll build the rest, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, I have to find space to display this Falcon because I have to rebuild the one that you got me. And this one is 50% bigger. So, and I had a hard time displaying that other one. So, a little bit of sadness for AJ and I. We loved our cousin very much, and we were all very close. And it sucks, 43 years old. So, hope to see him again someday. So,
and obviously with the Lego sets, he was also a Star Wars fan. So,
yeah, very much so.
The fandom is a little bit weaker today.
Yes, agreed. So, well, why don't we get into some actual Star Wars talk here? And I'll just start it off here. I would just like to say that you are an idiot. I have called you an idiot many times.
Wait, are we back on the Boba Fett thing again?
We are always going to be on the Boba Fett thing because he's awesome. He's always been awesome, and now he's even more awesome. You are wrong, baby.
No, yep. I misquoted. I'm not wrong. I misquoted, dude. I never said that. I never said Boba Fett sucked.
Yes, you did.
What I said was
you said he was overrated. You said he was overrated, and you didn't understand why he was that cool.
I thought with two of us on the show, it'd be a lot harder to get cut off, but no, my point was that the mystery was what made him cool. So the more Boba Fett stories they were telling us, the less cool he was becoming, because he was just a character then. He wasn't like the mysterious one that no one knew anything about. That's what I said.
Okay.
No, I was not in the camp of he went out like a punk in Return of the Jedi. What's so great about Boba Fett?
Yeah, I remember you were saying this overrated when we had our favorite characters episode, and you were kind of anti-Boba. So
okay. Well, yeah, that was the whole theme of that was overrated. That doesn't mean he's a bad character. It just means that for the hype he's received, I don't think it was deserved.
Well,
there's a difference.
And now you're wrong. Because now we've seen
because of stories that were written in the years since we did that episode?
Yes.
Sorry, I'll have to look into the future next time with my time machine and make sure my picks are future proofed.
What the hell are you doing, man? Yeah, I think we all knew that he was coming back in the season, but to see him like that was pretty incredible. I think it's like that's it's kind of like at the end of Rogue One when Vader's just destroying everybody. That's the Vader that everyone wanted to see, and now you got Boba Fett basically doing the same thing. I mean, we've never really seen Stormtrooper armor shatter before, so you see that, and he's just wiping the desert with these guys, and it was awesome. I mean, did you? I don't know about you, but as soon as you see Slave One fly across the screen, I was like, yes. So, yeah. and now just waiting to see if they ever catch flack for not explaining where was the Slave One the whole time and how to get out of the Sarlacc and all this stuff. So
I was wondering if we were going to get into this because there is some stuff that does not really make sense.
Well, I kind of look at it like this. It's like, one of the things that, I was very vocal about enjoying about Solo and the Rise of Skywalker is that they explain things quickly or not at all. It's just there. Like Palpatine's back. How? He's back. It's like, okay, cool. You don't have to dwell on that a ton. Like, we talked about, I think it was on the last episode about, the stuff in Solo, like the DL-44. They explained that in a quick second. And, and I think that, doing it this way is cool for the Mandalorian too. He's out of the Sarlacc and he's got Slave One. Let's move on. It's just cool.
But there's stuff that just doesn't make sense about that. Like, okay, so he goes all the way to Tython to confront Mando about the armor when he was on Tatooine the whole time and could have just gone to Cobb Vanth. Huh?
Why you gotta ruin things?
Look, this is the problem. If you're going to connect the dots and paint in every corner, then anytime you don't, it's going to stick out.
No, but wait a minute. No, because he didn't know that Cobb Vanth had the armor. He saw them out in the desert and Cobb Vanth had the armor. And then remember, Mando took it. So he may not have known that Cobb Vanth had it.
That is so simple. And no one, I've read so many articles and YouTube videos of people going like, this doesn't make sense. And then I was like, shit, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. Like you just said, maybe he just found out about it by watching Cobb Vanth wearing it with Mando in the season premiere.
He's just wandering around the desert looking for something to eat. And he looks over a ridge. He's like, oh man, look at that. Wait, holy crap. Is that my armor? Wow. So
it's like when someone steals your TV or something or your bike out of your garage, and then 3 or 4 years later, you're just driving around and you're like, God damn it, that's my bike.
Right. No,
so apparently he never lost his ship, which is awesome, but
yeah.
Okay, there are still questions, and these aren't Mandalorian show related questions. These are more, if I had paid attention to Aftermath, more questions.
Okay.
So obviously he got out of the Sarlacc.
Yes, we know
We're going to assume he was wearing the armor when he did.
Well, yeah, or else how would it have gotten out of the Sarlacc?
Okay, so he lost the armor after getting out of the Sarlacc.
Maybe he took it off or something. I'm
not saying these are problems or plot holes. I'm just saying I don't think we've gotten that piece of the puzzle put in yet.
Yeah.
Because it is kind of weird to okay, so he survived the Sarlacc probably because he had his armor and Beskar's awesome.
Yeah.
But then something happened after that he lost it. And he didn't know who to go after the trail went cold. That's weird.
Maybe it was way too hot wearing it in the desert constantly because he was stranded.
There's rumors that they're going to do a prequel. Between Return of the Jedi and Mandalorian Boba Fett miniseries. So maybe we'll see that.
It's just
that could actually be like the beginning of it. Is him clawing out of the Sarlacc and then the Jawas just boost him or something.
It's just 2 seasons of him climbing out. He keeps falling back in.
It's like Pinky in the Brain. What are we going to do tonight, Boba? The same thing we do every night. I don't know. What's your name again?
Yeah. Other half digested guy.
Pirate? What?
Yeah. Weak weight.
Same thing we do every night. Pirate, try to call out of the Sarlacc.
Total Pinky in the Brain moment, right?
Noff.
Oh man. So if you guys are watching, if you guys would like to interact with us and be a part of the show, tune into our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. You can comment live there, and we'll be able to see your comments and bring you up and bring you into the discussion. So, I think you brought up some interesting points earlier in the week, and Boba Fett kind of, is a good place to start. And it's,
we should probably go back one episode, because doing this bi-weekly means we got 2 chapters to discuss.
Well,
the fact that Boba even showed up on the planet, we didn't get to the planet until it was name dropped in the last episode.
Yeah, with Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, that was. I don't really want to turn this into just like a review of the Mandalorian, but it was really weird, kind of seeing. What's up, Craig? It was really weird seeing Ahsoka in live action. It was awesome, but it took me a couple minutes of getting used to it. It's almost like when you saw Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. It took a few minutes to kind of like acclimate yourself to like, okay, this is Han Solo now. Like, this is Ahsoka now. But it was cool though.
I gotta admit, I was a little bummed. I didn't think they would, but I thought it would have been cool if they would have like dubbed all of her dialogue with Ashley Eckstein. Just to keep the voice consistent between the cartoon and the live action, like they did with Maul. But with all that talking, I knew it was not realistic.
Yeah, they probably explain it away. Just she aged, and so the voice deepens or something like that. So,
so you're saying it was a little. It took some getting used to for the live action Ahsoka to show up.
No, just to get used to it being like a live action Ahsoka that wasn't Ashley Eckstein.
Was it a little jarring?
Seriously, that of all puns, you can all right.
You write a better one for that name. Come on.
I'm not even going there because I have a show to run. I can't be sitting here thinking about Star Wars puns. All right, seriously. But
no, they did change her look up a little bit just because. Yeah. The cartoon model really wouldn't have worked in live action.
Yeah.
No, she would have absolutely cut off those Leku like in a second if they were as long as they were in Rebels.
Yeah, right.
One spin and she's like, ah! There were a couple times even with her cloak. I was looking at it like, that lightsaber would have gone straight through that thing if that was a practical prop.
Yeah, right.
Flowing clothes and lightsabers don't really mix.
Yep. Speaking of clothes and lightsabers, like I did not know that Beskar was also lightsaber proof.
Yeah, that's new.
I was not aware of that, so that was kind of interesting. That's
like the first job of any new Star Wars story. If you're gonna put lightsabers in a story, you have to have some plot device that blocks lightsabers. Yeah. Like how many video games are like, wait, the stormtroopers have a new kind of armor, or they have a riot baton, or whatever, the electro vibro something, huh?
Electro vibro something, yeah. 18 new troopers, 14 different kinds of new weapons. Mm-hmm. That was an awesome episode, and of course, the whole "where's your boss" or whatever she says, and you're going, all right, so who's the boss? Like who's the guy in charge? And then when she drops drops Thrawn's name, I was like, oh man, like so, and it was very kind of Shogun-esque, I guess. That little that little shootout at the end was awesome. Dude, it's so weird. I know we talked about it before, but this show just doesn't seem like it can get it wrong. There's like every episode you come out of it going, even the episodes you kind of figure like you may not have liked them as much. You're kind of like, oh my God, that was awesome. And this season just continues to get better and better. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what they do with this whole Grogu thing. And now that he's in captivity and, it's a good thing that they announced a 3rd season already, because there is so much stuff that they have to explain. Mm-hmm. There is just too many plot threads. If they'd be like, okay, the show's over, be like, you cannot leave it there like that, man. Like we already had that. I
hope the scope expands a little bit. Have you noticed, like,
really?
My one gripe with the Ahsoka episode was there's like 6 people in that whole episode. It's, I don't know, maybe I'm nitpicking, but it's becoming more apparent to me that like the whole thing is shot in like a 20-foot room. Like except for the nameless soldiers that she was cutting down at the beginning of the episode, you had like no more than 5 people on screen at any one time.
See,
and it's just like,
I kind of like that though. It makes it more personal, I think, and it's also if you start making it monstrous again, then it just kind of looks like a cheaper movie. And I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I really love the way that they present this, so I'm a big fan of it.
I think it depends on the locale. Like, you go to the season finale last year, and having all the Death Troopers and the Stormtroopers lined up and all that, like, most of them were digital, in the background.
Yeah.
But it's still, or maybe it wasn't. I think that might have been like a location shoot because they got all the 501st guys out there.
Yeah, they had all the 501st guys.
So those might have been actual costumes from fans and stuff. But like, Navarro never felt small. Like the openness of the roads and everything. Like, you saw enough stuff that you were like, okay, this is a big, open, arid place. What was the planet that Ahsoka was on?
Oh my God, I'm drawing a total blank. I do not remember.
Whatever it was, though, like, it was wide open too, but it was so dingy and dark, like it felt very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't feel like an open space at all. And they were never indoors, I think, for like the whole episode. So that was just, it was weird.
I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was cool. I just like that it's more personal. I think it allows it to be more character driven. And so that's, I think it puts more focus on stuff like when Ahsoka Tano comes out, because then you're just solely focused on that, and they can really get into her for an entire episode, and then you don't have to just jam her into everything going forward. Because I think if you have something that is that in that large of scope, like if you think of the movies, I mean, going back to Boba Fett, perfect example. Boba Fett was awesome, but it's so big they can only have him in there for a couple minutes, and then everyone's like, well, who the hell was that guy? He was awesome. And now, stuff like Ahsoka Tano, they focused on her, so you got a big heaping helping of Ahsoka, and then you get this big episode with Boba Fett now, and who knows what they're going to do going forward. But I think it allows them to focus on these fan favorite characters a lot better, which I think is cool. I like that.
It does feel like this season is very much like a nexus. Like, we were introduced to the characters last season to establish them, and now that they're going out and visiting new locales, they're coming across other established characters.
Yeah,
but they're not like you said, it's like almost like a cameo or like a guest star spotlight. Like, we got Bo-Katan for one episode.
Yeah,
we got Ahsoka for one episode. We got Boba for basically one episode.
Yeah,
and like, we know based on how the last episode finished, we're going to get Boba probably through the rest of the season. But after that, he'll either, go his own way, or people are saying he's going to die or something.
Yeah.
So I think next season, maybe we'll get back to like the core cast. This was more to like bring in these characters, test them out with the audience. And like, if they work, then, we've already heard like, oh, there's an Ahsoka series in the works, and there's Bo-Katan might be part of that, or we might see Sabine Wren, or there might be a Rebels sequel in live action. Like,
yeah, aren't we supposed to have Sabine in this season still, or are they? I haven't seen official Corvus. Thank you. All right, there we go. Thank you, Craig.
On the bailout.
Yeah, there we go.
Looking out, Craig.
Right. Good looking out. Yeah, because I mean, did they ever confirm whether or not that was Sabine that was hiding in the hood in the shadows? Like, I don't think it was.
No, the person hiding in the hood in the shadows was Sasha Banks' character.
Yeah,
one of the Mandalorians.
Yeah, which is, and I looked up her name. It's something with a V, but it's
yeah, that's not Sabine.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, we're supposed to still get Sabine this season, aren't we? And since they haven't really done, I mean, that's what I thought.
Now you're into rumors and speculation, and there are so many rumors and speculation out there about Star Wars right now.
Yeah,
like, anyone pops up like, oh yeah, they're doing a series about him. Like, oh yeah, they're getting a movie. There's a trilogy, in fact.
Yeah,
and,
right. So yeah, no, I think you and I were texting, and I think you brought up some interesting stuff, outside of just kind of giving our Mando review. You had asked the question, is Mandalorian better when it's telling its own story or connecting other stories? And I thought that was a really interesting thing to talk about, because I think it's kind of both. Because I don't know how you feel about this, but I find myself really interested in the story of the Mandalorian and these new characters and what's going on. But yet when they bring stuff like Boba Fett in, or Ahsoka Tano, or the Darksaber, all these different canonical things, I love when they do that too. So where do you stand on it? Because I think they're both pretty equal, at least for me.
I think it goes based on the episode. Like
Okay.
the Bo-Katan episode for me, it didn't work. It felt like Mando was pushed to the side, and it was more like a live action Clone Wars episode that just happened to have Din Djarin in it. So I didn't like that.
Okay.
He took a back seat in his own series. But the Ahsoka episode, the latest one, those felt a lot more like, okay, this is the Mandalorian, and then here's a character we already know also in it.
Yeah.
So I think it can work either way, but I don't want this to be the formula going forward where it's always like just, character spotlight of the week, and the only through line is that, the Mandalorian's in it.
Yeah. Thankfully, I think they've done a good job of that, because I know that we talked about the fact that we were kind of nervous about that happening. Them like these legacy characters kind of overshadowing things, and I think they've done a really good job of that not happening. Even to the point where, it's funny. As much as everybody loves Boba Fett, like, you didn't really need him in the show. So I think the show, had he never shown up, I think it still would have been, people would have been, thinking the show's incredible. And yet here he is, just making it even better. So I think that in a nutshell is, kind of where I stand. It's, is it necessary? No. But is it awesome? Yeah. And do I like the stuff outside of the legacy characters? Yeah. And I'm with you, though. I'm glad that it hasn't become something where it's just, kind of like how people were more focused in the sequel trilogy on like Han, Luke, and Leia, and they just couldn't get over the fact that there were new characters. I like that they haven't done that. So,
yeah, I think that's a testament to the writing on the show, because I was the same way. Like, I was into the story of the new characters for the sequel trilogy, but every time a legacy character showed up, I was way more interested to see what they were up to, in this new time period.
Yeah.
Whereas like with the Mandalorian, like, I'm so on board with these new characters that like I said, I got annoyed when I saw a character I already recognized pop up, because I'm like, get out of the way. I want to know more about this guy instead.
All right.
So I just hope they have the writers have the courage to stick to it like that and keep developing Din Djarin's story and Grogu's story, instead of just leaning on the cheap pop of always like bringing in characters that are fan favorites,
Yeah. I think they're setting it up to be its own type of story. It almost, to me, feels like they're kind of using what already exists in canon. I think they're using that as a springboard, because there's so much that hasn't been explained, at least in a television format or a movie format, between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, that I think, using the whole Thrawn angle, and now you got Grogu, which is okay. How does Yoda play into this, if at all? How did he survive Order 66? They're kind of using those as kind of the anchor to get people interested in, what's going on. And then they're going to tell their own story based off of that, I think, which I have no problem with, because I think if you just start randomly throwing new stuff out there with no grounding in something that people already know, I don't think it would go over as well.
I think they did a great job in the first season with that, though. The first season, he looked familiar because we know what a Mandalorian looks like. And there was enough like visual tie-ins to go like, oh, okay, this is definitely set in Star Wars, but they put it out on an unknown planet with completely new characters in a time period that we hadn't explored yet. So they had like a clean slate, basically, with only a rough framework to really show like the galaxy is that big, and like all these things that we're so used to, we expect everybody to know because we saw it happen on the screen in the movies. These characters don't really care or know about it because they're so cut off from the events and the planets that we saw that they can just go about their lives and not even know. Like, how did this guy grow up not knowing what a Jedi is? Like, doesn't everybody know, at least have heard of the Force or the Jedi? And the answer is no, not when there's tens or hundreds of thousands of planets in the galaxy,
Yeah.
So that was cool. So the more that they like attach it more to the stuff we already know and the canon that's already been established, it's just more baggage for the storytelling to address, you know?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. I have to admit, it was funny when he didn't know about Jedi. In my mind, I'm thinking, who the hell hadn't heard of the Jedi? But I guess okay, like, but then again, in a way, that's that's one of those things that the Mandalorian is doing so well that other forms of the canon have kind of stumbled at, is that there's been a lot of people in the fan base that have been saying, well, I'm sick and tired of seeing Jedi this, Jedi that, lightsaber this, lightsaber that, whatever. And it's like, okay, they're kind of making it special again. They're adding that aura of intrigue, of mystery, like, oh my God, the universe forgot about the Jedi. So this is a new thing to these people. And so it kind of opens it back up again to being kind of mysterious, rather than, everyone saying, oh, well, there's Jedi everywhere. Like, well, these people don't know that. So
fair point. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like the comment that Tyler just had up there on the screen about the sequels, because we've been talking about that on text as well.
Yeah.
Like they're talking about M counts, in Baby Grogu. Yep. So we're thinking that's midichlorians, right?
Oh, it without a doubt.
And we see that these scientists are from Camino, so we're thinking cloning is going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then they say donor at the end of this episode, so
So you think we're seeing like the germination of like the Snoke project?
If it's not, I don't know what else it would be. That being said, it probably is something different, because it seems a little obvious that would be what it's for. But that would also mean that somehow, you would think that we're kind of seeing like the birth of the final order. So I mean, there's all kinds of stuff they could tie into the sequel trilogy there. So,
have you read the original Thrawn trilogy from back in the 90s?
Yes, it was a while ago, but I have read it.
So, do you remember how the Clone Wars were defined in there? Because this is before the prequels, so it was just speculation on the name drop that Obi-Wan did in Episode 4. Do you remember that?
I do not.
So, the Clone Wars were actually fought between the Jedi and clones of Jedi. Like I don't know if it was the Emperor, but someone attempted to clone Jedi, and what happened was they basically all came out insane.
Okay.
So it was the big, was it Jorus Sabaoth was the
Jorus Sabaoth, yeah.
Yeah, and there was like a Luke Skywalker clone too, and all this.
Yep.
So maybe they're like, because they love to pull from Legends, so maybe they're pulling that storyline where like they're trying to get Force sensitive clones because they're trying to clone Jedi as part of an Imperial project or something.
That could be. I mean, they have been pulling a lot of that Legend stuff, so that's yeah, I don't know. That's okay. So we've had this on the screen for a bit. Who do you think is going to be the one that responds to Grogu's rock call?
I love that phrasing, rock call.
Yeah.
Sounds like something out of the Flintstones.
So it sound like a rock.
Hold on a second. I got to make a rock call. Hello, Pebble? Pebble? Yeah.
Nice.
No, I don't know, man. Like, it's more of a question, like, who do you want to see? Because there's like stuff in the comics as far as like who survived Order 66. There's at least like 24 confirmed Jedi that survived it. So
yeah,
you got choices, but who do you want to see?
I mean, you have to kind of think the way they're going. Who I'd want to see, I don't really know, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's someone like Ezra Bridger, Force Ghost Kanan Jarrus.
Ooh, that's a whole other thing. I never thought of a ghost being the person to pick up the call.
Yeah, I mean,
boy, how disappointing would that be for Grogu? He's like, "Oh, someone heard me. Wait, you're dead."
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, I don't want to learn from you. You died.
Yeah. What good are you, man? And you went blind. Like, you sucked at the Force.
You can teach me how to take a lightsaber. That's about it.
Yeah. Take a hit. Yeah, I mean, Tyler says it, Ezra Bridger. I mean, I think that's kind of like the easiest thing to guess right now would be that it would be Ezra. Personally, I hope not. Being someone who wasn't a big fan of Rebels, I'd be like, crap. Because then me, they've got that giant wall they could film anything on as the background. I'm like, well, great. That means they can have live action space whales. That's what this damn show is going to do to me.
It's going to come riding in on a Purrgil. Yep.
Exactly. It's like they're going to show it at the end of this season. It's going to be Ezra flying in on one of those goddamn whales. And I'm going to be like, you got to be kidding. I cannot escape these things. If I see live action space whales, I'm getting my tattoos removed.
No, you got to get them filled in with Purrgils.
Oh my God. Yeah,
it's your penance. That's what you get.
I shouldn't have said that out loud. Oh my God.
No, I have a hard time with this one because, it seemed pretty straightforward in Return of the Jedi that that was it for the entire order. Like Luke was it.
Yeah.
Now we've had to accept that Ahsoka wasn't a Jedi, so she doesn't really count, I guess. But how many more characters are they just going to invent that were alive at this time that Yoda just, I didn't know about that Jedi. Sorry.
No, don't forget you can explain away anything. What they say in the prequels, it's like, I think it's time we inform the Senate that our ability to use the Force is diminished. Like, wait, that goes away? like, okay. So maybe there's like, crap. I guess we didn't see that guy. Like, maybe that's what,
There's a lot of love for the Mace Windu theory. What do you think about that?
Again, they have to be a Force ghost unless something happened, where he, I don't know, landed on a pillow factory or something. Like,
they're saying he could have survived that fall. Yeah.
No one could have survived that fall.
Darth Maul survived. As soon as Darth Maul was brought back in the Clone Wars, all bets are off.
Yes. Yeah.
And Fennec Shand has robo guts.
Yes.
I get legs and arms, but what does she eat?
It's like baby food. Haven't you ever seen RoboCop? Duh.
Good point. I actually just watched that whole trilogy.
Oh my God. You watched the third one?
Mm-hmm.
Even the second one's kind of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's total dreck, but I'd never seen it. And I was all right, I got to see how bad this is.
Yeah.
But
no, the second one's tolerable. After that, it's just garbage. So,
hey man, Aaron Kirshner made the second one. We had to watch it.
That's true. How do you go from Empire to RoboCop 2? Oh well. Anyway, yeah, I mean,
it's just a job for some people.
Joseph says Yoda or Yaddle. Yaddle would be. That's just one of those nerd characters. That I mean,
I would love that though. I mean, I was talking about the writers being, bold and courageous enough with their storytelling. That's bold. You want to bring Yaddle back?
Yeah.
Go for it. I want to see that one come out.
I mean, people
if
can
you
barely
redeem Yaddle. Holy crap.
You can't. I mean, you can't even people barely see her on the Jedi Council. Much so how many fans would be like, well, who the hell is that? Like, so yeah, I mean Yoda, I'd be okay with Yoda because I mean I love Yoda. Who doesn't? But yeah, I don't know. The Mace Windu thing would be cool, but I mean, the thing of it is,
I definitely feel like it's going to be a character that was already established. They're not going to invent a new Jedi.
I was just about to say that, like, because people now want to see something that they know, and so they're not going to settle for Bob Jones. It's some guy just shows up like, I got your call. Who the F is this guy?
What if the answer is nobody? Seriously, what if nobody heard the call?
It'd be like the most pointless thing ever.
Well, that was what Ahsoka said. She's like, look, there's not many Jedi left, so there's every chance that no one's going to hear this.
Yeah, but
it's a total Ryan Johnson move. It's a total Ryan Johnson move, man.
Yeah, but people heard that call. That's the thing. In the Rise of Skywalker, you found out everybody heard that call. Like, you don't just like send out a distress signal, then have it be like, oh, nobody got it. Like, especially like Grogu spends half the episode, with this shimmering blue light flying everywhere that, protects him, and no one can get into this force shell, and then nothing happens from it. Like, that was pretty pointless.
Okay, let's run down some of the theories I've heard, because there's some crazy stuff going on out there. So we've already talked about Mace Windu being alive. Okay, there's one. Palpatine. What do you think of that? Which means he wouldn't have to necessarily show up in person, but he could be, make his presence felt or something,
Okay, well, the reason I would say I would like that is because if they do something to explain more about the Palpatine backstory that people have complained about not being there with the Rise of Skywalker, I would be okay with that. And I think that is a plausible thing for them to be doing because of how they've done the other things with the legacy characters. They've provided explanations for things. You go, oh yeah, that could work that way, and it makes it awesome. So, okay, I think I'd like that. Maybe all this like donor crap, like maybe it's not cloning. Maybe they have the Emperor's body and they're trying to fill him with like force sensitive blood. And that's why they say donor instead of specifically mention cloning. So maybe, and like, I on my I'll put this one up here. Luke hears the call and ignores it. Yeah, that would be everyone's already pissed off enough at Luke. It just shows him fishing on Achto, and then he goes, grow. Screw that. This goes back to fishing.
That's when he cuts himself off from the Force. He's like, I don't want to answer that.
Yeah. So we got some fan on fan going on. So Eric says, what if Jar Jar answers the call? Eric, don't you put that evil on us. This is why I love the comment feature, man.
Yes.
This is exactly what the comment feature is for.
Oh, man. So another one that I've heard, Kylo Ren. I'm sorry, Ben Solo at this time.
Yeah, I heard that too. But I mean, he's a little. He'd only be like, isn't it like 4 years old or something? Yeah. I think I read 4 years old because I think I read something that said that's the significance of the blue butterfly. It's in something that's in canon right now. Like there's some, it ties back to Ben Solo somehow.
What about Leia?
That would be pretty awesome. I wouldn't have a problem with it. Well, but then again, how is she going to do it? Well,
yeah, I don't know if they just recast the part or what, but I mean, they're leaning into her being Jedi trained. So this would probably be when she was undergoing her training. So she's probably like reaching deep into the Force and trying to, probe the depths and stuff, test her powers.
Yeah.
I hadn't actually read that one. I just thought of that. I'm like, that actually could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I feel like with all the Force powers and stuff that they ended up giving her in Rise of Skywalker, and that's like the tip of the iceberg. I need way more of that story to buy into her, like being able to train Rey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like we were talking about, like, I mean, one of your other points that you had brought up was the fact that, the Mandalorian is able to, bring these things into canon and expand on them and do it well. Whereas so many of the other, cartoons or books or comic books or whatnot, they've not really been able to pull it off. And I think because they're so good at it, maybe Leia would be something that they could actually pull off. So
I feel like that's still like a favorite character of the writers.
Oh yeah.
Like it was tragic. They couldn't do anything else besides like what they did in Rise of Skywalker, but given enough time to prepare for it, I'm sure that they would like to revisit that character.
Yeah. Instead of recasting her, they just have her shot from the back all the time. You never see her face, just the back of her head.
Or maybe they do it like Wilson on Home Improvement, where she's always like behind a bush or something. They get a little too real. They like pull in a global, like a galaxy-wide pandemic, so she's always wearing a mask. All you can see is her eyes.
They bring COVID into the Mandalorian so they can recast Leia. The call sheet goes out and they're looking for actresses that look like Carrie Fisher from the nose up.
Are you a white chick with brown eyes? We've got a role for you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Have you heard any more rumors? Because I think I like those. And, again, I think if I was to have a favorite, it would be either Palpatine or Mace Windu. Because
the only other ones I've seen rattled off, we kind of talked about. Who else would be alive? We got Cal Kestis from Fallen Order, or at least he hasn't been killed yet in canon. That doesn't mean he's alive at this time, but he isn't dead yet. So
yeah.
Or what was his mentor's name in that story?
Oh,
Siri or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. God, why is my memory crap tonight? There's only 2 of us. I should be able to focus more. I'm not even drinking, man. I'm having iced tea, for God's sakes.
I'll be honest. I ran aground in that game like about halfway through, and I just watched a Let's Play for the rest of it. So I saw the story play out, but I did not play through it.
Oh, that game was
never
amazing.
got good enough with the lightsaber combat, man. And my stupid, first gen PS4 takes like 5 minutes to load every time I died, so I got sick of it.
I love that game. I played the hell out of it. Yeah, I'm with Tyler. If it was Cal Kestis, that'd be awesome. And it also wouldn't be very jarring to see him live action because there's already a live action actor.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool. Plus we'd get BD. We get BD1.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
So that'd be cool. Add another droid in there. That'd be fun. Oh, Tari Vizsla. Are they going to bring in Tari Vizsla? Okay. Am I saying that right? I think I'm messing it up.
Is now Tar Vizsla, again, I'm blanking on names. Is that the person who found Django? Made Django a foundling?
I thought so, isn't it? Correct us in the comments if we're wrong here.
So this would have to be a flashback of some sort then. Because the story I remember from that, at least, again, this might be Legends by now, was Tar Vizsla was killed, and that's when Django took up the armor and the mantle of being a Mandalorian at that point. So I don't think he'd be alive at the time of the show. Maybe
he was a Jedi too. Remember the sequel trilogy, like everyone's a Jedi. Broom Boy, like Finn, like, so who knows? Apparently people fart the Force for all we know. Like,
right.
So
you've got the Force. You've got the Force. You've got the Force.
Okay. So there we go. Force sensitive Mando. Okay. Thank you. We know a lot, but sometimes we don't know everything. So there we go. The original Dark Saber holder. There we go. Okay.
I was going to say, if you know anything about the history between the Mandalorians and the Mandalorians are all very sensitive about the Force. Okay.
Well played. Excellent use of wordage. So one of the other things that you had asked about was fan service in the Mandalorian and why it seems to be working so well in the show when people kind of crap on it elsewhere.
Yeah, I'd love to know what our commenters think of that, because it's like Solo, everyone said was like pandering, but when anything shows up in Mandalorian, they're like, that's so cool that they included that. We got the troop transport, we got all these characters from animation, we got the Pearl in the middle of the crate dragon.
Yep.
Like obvious stuff that is clearly just fan service, and everyone's like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But then the DL-44 shows up in Solo, and they're like, oh my God, really?
Yeah. See, it's weird because like I'm a bad one to answer that question because I love all of it. I have no problem with it. Because, as I've said, I think they did it really well in Solo. The Rise of Skywalker was basically one big fan service moment the whole time. And I had no problem with that because I felt like I was being acknowledged, like, hey, super fan, here you go. All the things you like about Star Wars. Like, so I didn't mind that. I will say that there's a difference though. I think that the stuff in the Mandalorian, it's it's not quite as heavy-handed, I would say, because it all ties into the story. You know, like the whole Boba Fett thing is, you know, it's awesome. And of course it's fan service because, you know, so many of us love Boba Fett, but you know, the main character being a Mandalorian, and, you know, they've already expanded the lore of Mandalorians themselves. So having Boba Fett a part of it expands that character and also adds to what's there. So it's not just, oh, because this one guy's a Mandalorian, this guy's a Mandalorian, they're just going to kick ass. Like, no, it actually like means something. So, you know, the Ahsoka Tano thing was brought in to, you know, kind of bridge that gap between, you know, Din Djarin and, well, you know, the kid's got the Force, so what do you do with them? Well, you bring in Ahsoka Tano, and is it fan service to have her there? Yes, but you need someone to kind of push the story along to say, well, here's what you need to do to get him with someone that can actually train him. So that wasn't just, hey, here's Ahsoka Tano, she's back, you know, with her 2 white lightsabers for a while. So, so I think it is a little different, but I'm probably a bad one to answer.
Yeah, I guess it varies on execution again. Like Force Awakens, when Finn is rummaging through the stuff on the Falcon, well, the introduction of the Falcon alone was just like a blink and you'll miss it while they're running towards the quad jumper.
Yep.
Actually, it wasn't even there in the shot. It's like, that ship's garbage. Okay, on we go.
No, it was there. If you slow it down a ton, you could see it in like a frame or two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then like when they get on the ship and he's rummaging through for, I think it's like tape. Yeah, after Chewie gets shot in the arm, he's rummaging through for like a bandage. And he like just holds up the training remote, like right up to the camera, like, here you go.
Yeah.
Like, come on. That was a bit much.
Yeah, I remember
but you're right. Mandalorian is much more like organic, like what do they call it? The ice cream maker that holds money.
Yeah. The Beskar carrier. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever that thing's called.
Yeah.
Total fan service to put that in, but it was done in like a logical way.
And it's such an underground fan thing too. You know, only like super nerds like us that go to Celebration and cosplay. You know, even some really hardcore fans that I know, you know, they're not quite as nerdy as we are, but they're up there, and they were like, "What, that actually meant something?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that meant something." Like people like us,
like a Cam Taro or something.
Yeah, something weird like that. I really got to start remembering these terms, but I read so much all the time about these things that the words are kind of like in one ear and out the other. Yeah, I got to start writing this stuff down apparently. But yeah, you know, again, I completely agree with you in that it's handled more in a story fashion, and like you said, I mean, you used the perfect example when, you know, they just pull up the training remote in The Force Awakens and chuck it, you know, like, oh, not this, like, you're like, oh, I remember that. So yeah, see, it's weird because, you know, we recently talked about Solo, and I think so many people said we don't need that story and we don't like this about it, we don't like that about it, and yet once they saw it, I think a lot of people kind of realized, like, okay, we do like to see that kind of fan service. So yeah,
not to circle back to our last show about what makes Solo great, but yeah, like that whole movie was stuff we didn't need, but it was very fun to get anyway.
Yeah, I think that, again, with Mando, and I thought that with The Rise of Skywalker. I mean, I'm kind of in the minority, but I thought that the fan service stuff was actually cool. And, you know, but, you know, again, I think you could look at it as heavy-handed, because it was kind of like, you know, I was sitting there the whole time, like thinking like they're kind of looking at me with a lot of the stuff that they're doing, you know, the way they bring Lando in, which is kind of like this big monstrous entrance, you know, and it wasn't, you know, whereas, you know, in The Mandalorian with Boba Fett, it was kind of subtle. They just pan across. You're like, oh, there's Boba Fett, boom, off the screen. You're like, what the hell? Like, so, yeah, it's weird how they do that stuff. And even in like the cartoons, when they bring in the old characters, it's kind of, I don't know, Mandalorian just does it differently. It feels so much more
organic.
Yeah, smooth. It's like it actually belongs there. It doesn't really feel shoehorned in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like you said, they do a much better job of integrating this stuff so it feels like it should be there instead of like shoehorning it in. One of the details I noticed, for example, is like Stormtrooper armor apparently shatters like the Praetorian Guard armor in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I've noticed that happening a bunch, and I'm like, I don't know why they would do that, why they would even have to, because those two factions aren't like the same, but I like it. Like it's a little bit of connective tissue there that says these two things are at least somewhat similar because they behave the same way.
Yeah.
They're not recreating the lightsaber fight against the guards from Last Jedi or anything to like pander, but they're at least saying that these two things are similar, so they belong in the same universe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or like the astromech that was the lava boat paddler or whatever.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then the thing's got arms and legs. Like, all right, okay. That was unexpected.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and like, I mean, to your point, that's that perfect example of fan service that feels natural and isn't just like shoehorned in there. You're like, look, it's an R2 unit. And you just kind of move on from it. It's that little slight wink and nod instead of it just being like smashed in your face. So, you know, which I think, you know, the main character himself was kind of like smashing it in your face. Like, we know you love Boba Fett, so here's a whole show about a guy who looks like Boba Fett. Like,
yeah, that's the amazing thing is like they made a whole show about a guy that looks like Boba Fett, but very quickly was established. Even he was a bounty hunter, a ruthless bounty hunter in Mandalorian armor, and never was I like, oh well, this is just a better version of Boba Fett. Like it was clear from the start that he was not Boba Fett.
Yep. Yeah,
even though he totally was Boba Fett. Like right down to the damn rifle from the holiday special. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, even that's a perfect example right there. It's an Easter egg of a thing, but like they made it do something cool in the show, and it just seems like it belongs.
When is Boba going to ask Mando for his gun back too? I didn't just want my armor. I wanted my rifle too.
Dude, how great is it just hearing Tamora Morrison?
I know. Dude, knee rockets. Knee rockets, man. We got whistling birds and knee rockets.
I never even knew the knee rockets were a thing, but apparently it was established in some sort of like book, some like cross sections book that he's always had them, and we just never saw them.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he did that, I was like, again, this show just has so many moments where I'm like, oh yeah. It's like
the one thing that I didn't know though, the thing I learned in this episode was I didn't think that Boba Fett's armor was Django's armor.
I didn't either. I thought the same thing.
Like I thought we'd looked at this before, and there were like design differences that made it like basically impossible.
Yeah,
but I guess not. So
well, apparently there's spray paint in a galaxy far, far away. Like, so who knew?
But no dent pullers. He's been rocking that stupid dent in his helmet for like how long now?
He's just lazy. He thinks it earns him street cred. Get some chicks. Chicks think he's all hardcore because he's all dented up and stuff.
I was fighting a Gundark.
Yeah. I tore this Gundark apart. And he effed up my helmet. I'm leaving it alone.
Dude, anything that guy says, I'm totally on board with. Like, right. You remember him back in Battlefront 2 for PlayStation 2? Voicing the clones in the campaign?
Yeah.
God, that was so good.
That was a great game. I miss
that guy game. Can just say anything, and it's awesome.
Pack your things. We're leaving. You got to be able to do that New Zealand accent, man. It helps.
Yeah, I don't have the Kiwi. You've got that.
I only have a little bit of it because I have a friend who's from New Zealand, so he talks like this. So I got a little bit. I was supposed to even go talk to Tim Morrison at Celebration, tell him my bro and my band is Ngapui. So I I had to learn how to say it. But
so would it be cool or too pandering to the fans if they give him like a clone line to say as Boba Fett?
Like, well, I mean, they already gave him.
They mow down a bunch of. They mow down like a ton of troopers or something. Goes, all these troopers are dead.
Yeah, well, these troopers are dead. Oh yeah, that would be. But then it's move to the west instead of the east. It's changed the direction.
He's just a simple man making his way in the galaxy.
Exactly. I mean, they already did that.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were probably like, you know, everyone hates Attack of the Clones. No one's gonna remember that he said this, so they pulled the line out.
Dude, how much more messed up is that now, knowing that he's got his dad's helmet? So like, he watched his dad get beheaded, and we've never really been clear on whether or not the head was still in the helmet when he held it up. Like, I want that special edition where the head just goes like.
I was just about to say that. He's sitting there holding it, and that just goes thump in the sand. You're like, ew.
Yeah. He's trying to have a moment. He's like. Yeah.
He just rolls over. The nose is leaning on his foot. Yeah, how do you clean your father's blood out of his own helmet?
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be one of the stories they'll tell in the 3rd season of The Mandalorian.
I don't know. He doesn't pull dents and he doesn't repaint the thing. So God, it's probably still got his dad's like snot and everything in there. He probably sneezed in there a bunch.
There's like hair. That's
it. God.
that helmet is a super spreader event in and of itself. Oh my God. That's so disgusting. Man.
Maybe he's got that voice because he's also a smoker, so it just like reeks of tobacco in there too.
Yeah, he had a normal voice, and then he didn't clean out the helmet properly. He's got all this mung on his vocal cords. Ugh.
Hi, my name is Jango Fett. 3 years later. Hi, my name is Jango Fett.
How do we get on these stupid ass topics? I swear.
Hey man, he was found by Death Watch, so maybe they sell death sticks.
True. So Chris Sobolewski wants to know: do we know how Jango got his armor? So
not officially.
Yeah,
not officially. Apparently, it was like in the chain code that was shown on screen. So that was where the name drop came of whoever found Jango and made him a foundling. But
yeah,
yeah, that was the legend story. Is the closest thing where whoever Jango was found by died in battle, and I think it was someone. I think it was a Vizsla who found him, and yeah, and then he took over the armor when whoever found him was killed.
Eric Geyer's tree fitty. Nice, that's awesome. Tree fitty. Yeah, what if whoever Jango got it off of got his head cut off? So Jango has to just shake this decapitated head out of it, and then Boba has to shake his dad's head out of it. Like, that thing is just
they gotta have a chin strap in that thing.
It's like a football helmet.
Why hasn't anyone, look, if I was Boba, what I would do to make that armor my own was I would have invented a damn scarf out of Beskar. I would have, I mean, if Beskar blocks lightsabers, make it go around your neck.
That's the only way to kill any of the Mandalorians. You have to decapitate them. Otherwise, it ain't happening.
That's the one thing that Mandalorian's totally doing. He's pulling a page out of Captain America's playbook. Like, Captain America is very much not bulletproof or laser proof or anything, but the shield is. Yes. So where do the bad guys always shoot? Right at the shield.
Yep.
How much of Mando is actually covered by Beskar and how much isn't? And what happens? They always shoot at the damn Beskar.
Quick, shoot him in the arm with that big metal part. That'll teach him.
No, I want to hit the shiny bits.
Yeah.
Shiny bits are bonus points.
Sir, I think if you hit him in the flesh, it'll kill him. No. Just trust me on this. Again, though, he is getting shot at by stormtroopers, and they miss everything. So maybe they're aiming for the Beskar.
God, that drove. Okay, that was the other thing about that Bo-Katan episode. That Bo-Katan episode was like such a Rebels episode. Yeah, I mean, they're in a friggin' hallway, 15 feet apart and only 6 feet wide, and the stormtroopers miss them. What the hell? You know me, and when they start doing that with stormtroopers, that was one of my biggest complaints about Rebels. They're like 3 feet apart. It's like point blank range, and the bullet, the blast is going zoom, zoom. Like, come on, man! Like, seriously, whatever happened to only Imperial stormtroopers are that precise? Like from Episode 4. It's like the only time that I think we can recontextualize that now. Obi-Wan was definitely throwing shade. Like only probably the blaster bolts were like all over the damn places. Like only Imperial stormtroopers are this precise.
We got to go rewatch the special edition because they made the sandcrawler bigger, and there's like shots up in the corner and by the windshield and everything like that. That
real precise, guys.
Yeah, I got him.
Sorry, sir, doing my best.
The stormtroopers are just the asshole family from Spaceballs. He's my cousin.
They get to the Lars homestead. Fire a warning shot across their nose. And we saw how that went.
Yeah. It's across their nose, not up it. Oh my God, we are such morons. So
I like our version better.
I know. We got to start rewriting this stuff. If only we had the means to make these movies.
All right, so we got 2 weeks before the next episode, which means we're going to wrap up the season before we reach the microphones and the cameras again. So what do you think we're going to get?
I wouldn't be surprised to see Sabine Wren, because I thought that was supposed to be like a thing. And we also heard the rumor that she and Ahsoka were supposed to be in the same episode. So maybe we'll get more Ahsoka and Sabine, but I don't know so much about that because it kind of they're going so Empire centric and Darksaber centric now. I think with Grogu being held captive now, that I think that's pretty much going to be the focus, and Mando has to find a way to go get him. So I don't know how you're going to bring those two back in, but yeah, I think you definitely have to have.
We've got at least 4 people in the posse. We've got Mando, Cara Dune, Fennec Shand, and Boba, and apparently we're going to get
Bill Burr's character.
Yeah, Mayfeld.
Yeah, Mayfeld. Thank you.
Yeah. So
how do we forget that?
5 people. We're blanking on everything tonight, man. We suck.
No. I'll start thinking of it as a Browns quarterback. We got Baker Mayfield coming in there.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I mean, they're gonna have. There has to be something more about the Darksaber because they haven't said a thing about it, except for this last episode where he's like, "Oh, remember one of these?" or whatever he said to Grogu about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a split second Thrawn sighting, because he was mentioned as the head honcho. So maybe like he just walks out at the very end of the last episode as like the major cliffhanger. Yeah. Or they just show like a silhouette that kind of looks like him, and then these red eyes, like the open up, and like that's how like we would know who it is, but the average fan would not. I don't know. One thing I wonder, and I don't know if this will be this season or next, since Mando doesn't have a ship anymore, are they going to kill off Boba Fett? And is Mando then going to inherit Slave One?
I could see that happening, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Boba dead, and I'm already pissed that the Razor Crest is gone. Who knew we were so attached to that ship, by the way? Were you as like shocked when that thing blew up as I was?
Well,
they've never blown up a ship of that importance in Star Wars, have they? I mean, the Falcon would be like the closest thing, and it always survives.
Don't you verbalize that ever.
I said it always survives.
Yeah, I'm saying don't you verbalize them blowing it up at all.
I mean, hell, Luke's X-Wing survived, a swamp and an ocean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was funny. We were talking about Razor Crest, how he's just magically has all these parts to repair it. Well, so finally they're probably like, all right, look, you're not going to get out of this one. They blew the crap out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Enough with the friggin' ship already.
Yes. So Eric Geyer says,
again with the ship. All right. We know how to get out of this one.
Yeah. I got this. All right. So Eric Geyer says Thrawn would be an amazing intro, could lead to another series. I'd be into that. Tyler Burkhart says I wouldn't be so upset if they kill off Boba since we just got him back. I disagree. I think a lot of people would be pissed if they killed off Boba Fett.
Wow. So because he just came back, you don't care if he gets killed?
I think it would be too big of a tease. I think he's too big of a character to do that to just say, you see him for a split second at the end of the first episode. Then in the 6th episode, you got him destroying everybody. And all of a sudden he's like justifying why he's a fan favorite. And then he's dead. So,
Well, Tyler says he would be upset. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me too. Like, I think the best way to write him out is just have his debt to Mando be paid, and he just goes off into the galaxy. Points unknown. Leave it open for future storytelling if you want. Never pick up the character again if you don't. Whatever.
Yeah. Or maybe Mando steals the ship, and that's how they become enemies, and then there's, he's hunted by Boba. Who knows?
Maybe Boba actually killed the Sarlacc from the inside, and that's where he lives. Maybe he just goes back to the Sarlacc.
Could be. Who knows? Yeah, he never left the Sarlacc. He was just living in it.
Right.
He somehow killed it so it wasn't digesting him.
I mean, yeah, it takes 1,000 years to digest anyway, so you might as well set up shop while you're waiting.
Yeah. Build a house. nice porch. So what do you think that we're gonna get?
I think most of it's going to take place on the ship. I don't think we're going to find like a new planet or an Imperial base, because we don't know where Moff Gideon is actually going right now. But they're still on the ship, right?
Yeah, it was
a cruiser.
There.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, well, we're going to see an epic fight with Dark Troopers, which is going to be awesome.
Where did those come from? I was not familiar with those.
Video games. Those are an invention of the mid-90s PC games from LucasArts.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've had like a couple different iterations. Obviously, they're going to tweak the design somehow for this, but
yeah,
even in the video game itself, there were like 3 different phases. There was like the prototype, the V1 and V2. So the further into the game, of course, the tougher and bigger and badder they got. So there's all that stuff to go from. Whoever Grogu made contact with has got to show up.
Yeah, you
or
can't,
at least like a name drop or something. Maybe Ahsoka plays translator again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Grogu's first words. Maybe this is how he like figures out how to speak again or something.
Or his species, or his home world.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Would you like that if they brought in like a whole planet of Yodas? I don't think I would.
Look, it was ballsy enough to even invent Grogu in the first place. I don't need too much of it. It's the Boba formula, right? Like,
yeah,
keep it light. Don't paint in too many corners.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think about how many Mandalorian centric stories they've told, like we've gotten a lot of development on Mandalorians in general. Between Clone Wars and Rebels and now the live action stuff, like, damn. They're like the Mandalorians are like the Klingons of Star Wars.
That's exactly.
Where like they showed up a few times originally, and then like 20, 30 years down the road, the writer's like, you know what's cool?
You know what the fans love? You know what the fans just love? Well, I mean, it speaks to the popularity of Boba Fett. Everyone went nuts for Boba Fett. So like, let's add more guys that look like that. So, all right. Well,
I like Chris Obolewski's last comment there about seeing life on the core worlds. We've been, like living in the outskirts in the Outer Rim. I wonder what's going on with what like Coruscant looks like, right?
Yes.
Like what are the strongholds of the Empire? What are those like now? That could be interesting.
I think that'd be cool too. Mm-hmm. I completely agree with that. So, all right. Well, why don't we leave it there for this episode? Thanks everybody for tuning in. Everybody that is commenting along and taking part in the show, we appreciate it. We do this every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. So 2 weeks from tonight, it would be December 23rd at 8:15. So tune in. So right before Christmas, we'll be right here live. As usual, you can, for some reason, none of the YouTube stuff was coming up tonight. Only I don't know what this thing is doing. So, anyway, so I guess the best place to do it is either our Facebook page or YouTube. If YouTube is working, I'll have to email about that. But anyway, thanks for taking part. One of the things that we definitely want to do coming up is do just kind of like a chat, just kind of come in here with no topic and have you guys just start asking us questions and see where it leads. We thought that'd be kind of fun to kind of have like an open discussion about stuff. And so that's good. So, real quick, once again, I want to send out condolences to Steve and his wife, Gwen. We said at the beginning of the show that Steve lost his father-in-law while we were taking a break over the summer. And today would have been his birthday. So that's why Steve's not on the show. He's spending the night with his wife. So we love you guys. And, sending lots of good vibes your way. So obviously, AJ, you and I, saying goodbye to our cousins last week. So that was very sad, but it was awesome to have him around for 43 years. We were all very close, so that was cool. Mm-hmm. So
and a quick moment of silence also for David Prowse.
David Prowse, yep.
We lost Vader, so
yeah, Vader's gone. So Anyway, as usual, we are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. If you would like to get customizable Nerfherder Council swag, you can do that at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. You can find the show pretty much anywhere you look up podcasts. The audio version is now going up again. So if you'd like to hear a replay of this, you can definitely find that. Our main platform is Spreaker.com. You can find all of our episodes there. They do go back several years. And the website is nerfherdercouncil.com. If you'd like to send us a show idea or general feedback, you can do that. nerfherdercouncil@gmail.com. And if you are listening on podcast apps and all that, give us all the big reviews and 5 stars and all that kind of stuff, depending on whatever platform you're using. Just say that we're
YouTubers,
awesome.
like, share, and subscribe.
Yes. See, I'm terrible at this stuff, man. You ought to be doing this, not me. I'm terrible at this crap.
I watch YouTube videos. So you like the video, then you share the video because people like to be featured with YouTube videos. You subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to be notified when we're going live.
Okay. So that's it. See, I'm terrible at this crap. I'm just like, oh, watch the show. Yeah. May the force be with you, Joseph. Tyler, thanks for tuning in, man. Hopefully we'll see you again. Craig, Eric, good to see you. Chris. So yeah, until next time, I am your host, JT at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ
at Drake Adams 579.
The show page is at NHC Podcast, and we will catch you on December 23rd at 8:15 p.m. Later, everyone.